Another big update in regards to West Ham United's pursuit of Slavia Prague's left-hand-sided player Hadji Malick Diouf. Over the course of the weekend, we heard from him confirming that he was expecting Diouf to be joining West Ham United, and as a result of that, Diouf had his own individual training programme to reduce the risk of injury and therefore protect the potential transfer as much as they could. Well, today, we're now hearing from Slavia Prague's chairman, who says a couple of things that I find very interesting because he basically confirms what we've already been told. But this is what he had to say. The club being speculated in the media has come the furthest, but we're not in agreement. Nothing new there. That's where I thought we were, that we wanted Diouf, but we haven't agreed anything between club and club. That's fine. But he went on to say neither of the offers exceeded our 20 million euros basic transfer price. Well, a couple of very interesting things here. Number one, he confirms we've made two bids and they've rejected both bids. And number two, he names the price because he goes on to say we want 20 million euros, otherwise he will stay. Now, from the selling club's perspective, I think Slavia Prague have just handled this perfectly. That stance is exactly what I would love to see from West Ham in regards to Mohamed Kudus. None of this whispering and leaking stuff, none of that. Coming out very publicly saying 20 million euros, basically calling out West Ham, saying your two bids, rubbish so far, because they will have seen reports coming out of the English side of it, which was that we've bid 20 million euros. Now, both can be true. I'll get onto the discrepancy in a second because I think the truth is in the middle of these two reports. The England side of things was that we bid 20 million euros and they want 25 million euros. Well, now you've got the Slavia Prague chairman coming out saying we want 20 million euros. And it's not just a message to West Ham, which is pay up or we're keeping him. It's a message to everyone. Leeds United strongly linked to him. They basically just said to Leeds United, 20 million euros, you can have him. Nothing's agreed with West Ham, so he's still here. But if none of you pay 20 million euro, forget it. We are keeping him. I admire this stance a lot. And also, they're backing it up. Because, hypothetically, West Ham came out and said, we want 75 million for Mohamed Kudus. I imagine there was a game of bluff going on. I think, well, no, you might want that, but that's not the prize. If West Ham came out and said, Kudus 75 million or forget it, my reaction would be, that's not true. They bid 70 to accept it. But actually, what Prague are claiming here, well, it is true because we've made bids and had them rejected. They're sticking to their price. Now, this is where I think the truth is, and it's somewhere in the middle. They want 20 million euros. We've apparently bid 20 million euros. I think both are true. I think what they want is 20 million euros guaranteed, basic transfer fee, no add-ons, no clauses, just 20 million guaranteed. Now, the structure of how it's paid can be negotiated. That's fine. I think what we've bid is, say, 17 million euros plus a potential 3 million of add-ons. So it's worth 20 million euros, but that's not what they're after. They're not after a deal worth 20 million euros. They want guaranteed cash. And I think that's where the truth is. Therefore, I think this deal is close. We cannot be too far away. They, I say, want to sell him. They're willing to sell him. We want to sign him. We're not that far away in terms of valuations. Therefore, I'm still confident. Funny enough, despite all these updates, what I think today, Monday, is the same as yesterday, the same as Saturday, the same as Friday, and the same as Thursday. My opinion hasn't changed, which is we want him, we're bidding for him, we've just not agreed anything yet, but I still think we'll sign him. That remains, if anything, every update just makes me even more confident that my opinion / feeling / prediction will be correct. Time will tell, we'll wait and see. What I was surprised at yesterday was off the back of this update, how many people, despite the Slavia Prague head coach confirming the interest and confirming he expects him to join West Ham, how many people were incredibly sceptical and refused to believe it. Basically said, this is made up, it's all leaked and it's not happening. I thought, well, it's not leaked, it's literally out of the mouth of the Slavia Prague head coach. This wasn't coming from the West Ham side of things. He's there doing an interview with the Czechia media. It's not made up, it's him, it's his words. But it just goes to show how reluctant people are to believe anything deemed good at the moment. in regards to West Ham. When I say people, I don't mean everyone, of course. It's probably a small portion. But I think even the most sceptical person, and I think I can be one of those sometimes, I'm willing to admit I'm quite sceptical when it comes to West Ham news, right? But when I've got the Slavia Prague's head coach and chairman now confirming bids, confirming they expect him to leave, confirming the transfer price, I'm willing to believe that there's something here. I'm willing to believe we've made 2 bids. Because whilst I may not trust David Sullivan and Karen Brady, I've got no reason not to trust the Slavia Prague chairman. Now, my thoughts in regards to this latest update, there's 2 things here. One, it's difficult to... I thought about this yesterday in regards to the Kudus stuff. So apparently, Sullivan's told Daniel Levy, basically, talk is cheap, get real. That was the phrase, get real, because apparently they bid 50 million and there was some clauses which West Ham would get paid if Spurs won the Champions League or won the Premier League, and therefore David Sullivan said, get real, unrealistic, ridiculous, which I understand. I get why you would suggest that off the back of those. But here's the thing. When we bid for players and we're chucking in clauses into these transfer deals, a lot of it will be down to the success of the player, as in appearances, so on and so forth. It might be international caps, assists, goals, whatever. But there will also be clauses that hinge on team performance. A good example right now is Kyle Walker. He's just joined Burnley. No transfer fee, 0. However, there could be 5 million of clauses activated. And a large part of that depends on Burnley avoiding relegation. Burnley avoid relegation, City get paid out. But you can't really accept them from West Ham at the minute, because what would our team performance clauses be? Winning a trophy? Qualifying for European football? Would you accept that if you were Slavia Prague? You'd say, well, no, we're not having that. Get that out. That's the same as Spurs putting in that they're going to win a trophy. Us putting in we're going to win a trophy. As a selling club, you're going to say, no, I'm not, we're not having that. Get that out there, because we're not going to see that €1,000,000. We're not going to get that. You're not going to win a trophy anytime soon, because how can you have that? I say hope. They don't have to hope. They just faith in West Ham doing anything. They can't. So there's probably less clauses we can add in there compared to usual, because I wouldn't be surprised if when we went to negotiate a deal for, say, Lucas Paqueta, we were playing European football the season before, the season coming up. So we said, right, if we qualify for European football next season, we'll give you another 1 million. Leon would probably go, yeah, that's all right. You've had 2 seasons on the bounce playing European football. That's a reasonable, and that's a clause that is realistic, that may be activated. We can't do that at the minute because of how unlikely it is. So I could understand why Slavia Prague said, no, you're not having that. The other thing I would add is I don't know anything about the rest of the team at Slavia Prague. Okay, don't know. Never heard of Diouf until a month ago. However, if we were to sign him, and then we consider the signings and success of Thomas Souček and Vladimir Soufal, I don't think keeping Slavia Prague sweet is the worst thing in the world. Now, I don't want to suggest that they are a feeder club for West Ham. But I think if we sign Diouf, I think it's fair to suggest that is a very successful club for us to go to scout and to look to bring talent into West Ham. As a result of that, those 2 in this potential transfer, I think this is one club it might be useful maintaining a really good relationship with, because there's 1 or 2 clubs over the years we've pissed off and they won't do business with West Ham, or they won't want to do. Ideally, they'd rather not do business. CSKA won't be doing business with us anytime soon because we won't pay them for Vlasic, and there's literally a legal dispute around that in regards to whether we are allowed or not. But that doesn't matter. CSK believe we could pay them and we won't pay them, so they're not going to be keen. Frankfurt had to chase us for the money for Sebastian Haller because we said, oh no, COVID, the season's not finished yet, because obviously Frankfurt, the deal was we paid them a certain price by the end of a certain season. By the end of the season, COVID got involved and delayed it, so the season moved. So we said, well, it's not the end of the season anymore. But Frankfurt were saying, well, yeah, but it's, the date is, this is when you were supposed to pay us by the date. And West Ham was saying, no, it's the end of the season. It hasn't happened yet, so you're not getting your money. Sporting, with the Dildo Brothers and all that. So there's quite a few clubs who have maybe put a few noses out of joint over the years, if you like. Slavia Prague's actually one that it would be good to keep this as a really strong relationship between the two clubs, because I don't think it's a wild hope or expectation even that in 2-3 years' time they may have another player who we think would do really well in Premier League, and therefore we could call on this established relationship we've already got. And I don't think our bids, by the way, just to reiterate, our bids have not been insulting. If they want 20 million euros and we bid 20 million euros, it's just 17 plus 3. We're not a million miles away, and it's not. I've used the phrase low ball in the past, and I'm quite confident I will use it again in regards to West Ham bidding for players, right? John Duvan, last summer, we were low balling that. They wanted 70, 80 million, we went in and said 55, right? That's low balling. But when the club says 20 and we go in and offer 17 plus 3, that's not low balling, that's negotiating. Because like I said, even if our first bid was 20 million euros, there's a good chance their statement today would say we want 25 million euros. I feel quite confident that a deal will get done. But not only that, I'm expecting a deal to get done. And it better. Because if Graham Potter and Kyle McCauley have identified Diouf as their number one target to replace Emerson and an important part of how we're going to play next season, and I would suggest that if we are going to be sticking at 3 at the back, getting in a left wing back is crucial. And if this is the guy they want, and we manage to balls it up over such a small part of the transfer fee, then we can't be doing that. I think this is really, really important that we get this deal done. And I'm not saying it from a point of view, which is, Diouf, wow, love Diouf, get him to West Ham. That's not why I'm saying it. I've never heard of him till a month ago. We've established that. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to sit here and say, I've been watching a limited amount of footage over the last month. I love him. I've not done that either. I think it's crucial we get him in because Graham Potter and Kyle McCauley really want him. That's why I want to sign him, because it's important that we back these two and we get the players in that they want. And if this is the guy, we need to go get him. I think Potter's already been mugged off a bit by the board this summer. Pre-season starts today. Potter said a couple of months ago, a few new faces for pre-season. There's none of them. So he's already maybe in a worse position than he anticipated or expected. What we can't do is miss out on one of his number one targets. This is the first guy we've gone for. This is also important context. We haven't gone for a striker, a midfielder, and then Diouf. This is the first guy we've gone for. That to me says he is crucial to Graham Potter next season. And as a result of that, we have to get him. And if it means that we've got to pay 20 million euros instead of 17 plus a potential 3 more, we might just have to stomach it, because we cannot. The irony is, Sullivan will say we can't afford it. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, we can't afford to not make sure this transfer happens.